Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Fatima. I am a makeup and skincare enthusiast. In today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are reviewing the new Dior eyeshadow palettes. These are the new limited edition Diorshow 5-color eyeshadow palettes. I have two of them here with me, brown cashmere and silk taupe. I have silk taupe on this eye and brown cashmere on this eye. I have some opinions, some thoughts about the packaging, about the formula, and about the difference in shades and application. I hope this video can help you decide if you want to pick up any of the shades. If that interests you, please keep on watching. Okay, let's see what this brings us. First of all, what is this packaging? Dior wanted to compete with YSL, and this is what they came up with. This is plastic. At first, when I opened it, I thought this is like the quality of their bags and what YSL does basically, but then I opened the packaging and I was so drawn back. It doesn't look bad in the camera, but when you have it in your hands, it feels so cheap. It's like cheap plastic. Do you see that? That is not okay, Dior. And it's a couple more dollars more expensive than their regular line, which I really like the packaging of the regular line better than this. You get 5 colors in these eyeshadows. The packaging, everything is the same. I am hoping the consistency is not the same because the new reformulation of their eyeshadows ruined the eyeshadows and they are so dry and not fun to work with. I picked up 2 of the shades. I have brown cashmere and silk taupe. I think these 2 shades are actually the ones that are gonna sell a lot because they are the ones that are like more neutral every day, and that is what I'm looking for in an eyeshadow palette. If you want to have something fun, something different for a limited edition eyeshadow palette, this line is probably not for you. Almost all the palettes were more like a neutral everyday look. You have the 2 applicators which we never use, and this is the eyeshadow palette itself. This is silk taupe. I haven't swatched it or anything. I wanted to keep it intact for this video so that we can do it together. I want to have a first impression, and obviously I'm gonna try it more, but since this is a limited edition one, I wanted to give you my thoughts sooner. I've heard these are better quality than the regular line. Hopefully that's true. These are the 2 I have, brown cashmere, silk taupe. I must say I'm not a fan of this color. It is too light for me, and I also don't wear warm color. Oh my god, look at this packaging. Literally guys, this is cheap plastic. I cannot believe them. Oh, it's gonna break super fast. If it wasn't for my channel, I will return them right away. But I'm gonna keep them so that I can have them in future videos as a reference. And it depends on the quality of the eyeshadow. Obviously, that's the most important thing. But with luxury brands, you are paying a lot for the packaging, and you want the packaging to represent that. For example, compare this to the YSL packaging. Let's swatch them. I'm gonna swatch brown cashmere first. The formula feels a bit nicer than their new reformulation in the regular line, and I do like their satin shades. I know most of the people want something super different and super impactful when they buy a luxury palette. For me, it's actually different. I want my luxury eyeshadow palettes or high-end eyeshadow palettes be a quality that I can wear every day. For a pop of color, I can always pick up a single eyeshadow and I don't wear them that much, but these are the colors that I wear almost every day. I don't have the YSL palettes, and the reason I didn't pick those up was that they were a bit too creamy for my liking. I might pick up 1 or 2 palettes in the future for reference in my channel, but the reason I never picked those up was because I like creamy eyeshadows, but those felt like too creamy, but in the powder formula, and I wasn't sure if I can use them as much as it's intended or as much as I paid for them, so I never picked them up. And I feel like the shade range was a bit too glittery. I liked your eyeshadow palettes because they aren't too glittery. They are usually more of a satiny formula. But we have 2 very shiny shades in this palette. These are the swatches. That is the mid shade. These are the top 2 and these are the top bottom. A bit warmer and more golden than what I usually wear as an eyeshadow, but I'm gonna try them on anyways and see how they will look. You get different consistencies, that's interesting. The embossing and everything is cute, but that's not gonna stay if you decide to use your palettes. The lighter shade in here is a lot more drier and not in a bad way, like more sheer. It applies more sheer. And the light color here is actually matte. I'm not sure if it's gonna show up on my skin, but we are gonna try it. The brown in this one is a bit more drier than the brown in the other one. I still feel like the old formula was a bit creamier, but this is much better than their regular line, the reformulated one. The pink one is actually cute. These are the swatches of the Silk Taupe. The 2 top swatches are the bottom ones. These two are the top ones, and the last swatch is actually the middle shade. This is a bit warmer than being a taupe. They both run warm. I mean, if we eliminate this shade, even the brown is not a very taupey shade. Here, if we eliminate this one, they have a good shade range, but I wouldn't call these taupe. And the brown is more like a golden undertone. I'm gonna apply brown cashmere on this eye and silk taupe on this eye. There is a lot of glitter in this eyeshadow palette. I don't know if you can see it, but my hands are covered in glitter. I'm not gonna use my natural hair brushes because not everyone has natural hair brushes and not everyone wants to use them. I'm gonna use my BK Beauty brushes because they are synthetic and they are good quality. Natural hair brushes usually make the eyeshadows blend better. That's why I want to use synthetic hair brushes, because if you are paying 70 something for an eyeshadow palette, you want it to blend itself. I'm gonna start with the brown cashmere on this eye. Let's apply this shade as an all over and transition shade. See what happens. I'm using BK Beauty 201. It looks a lot less warm on my skin tone, which makes me happy. When you apply more, the warmth shows up more. I don't like warm tones, but most of the people want warm tones for summer. Let's darken the inner corner with this shade. And I'm using BK Beauty 209. I have to say I'm not experiencing any fallout, but this is a very powdery eyeshadow. I don't know if you can see. I don't mind that if it's not gonna fall on my face. This is a great dark shade. I was traumatized by the Victoria Beckham Beauty eyeshadow. I honestly thought this is gonna be the same consistency because their regular line has been super dry. Even the regular line in Dior is better than the Victoria Beckham ones, but I didn't want to experience another eyeshadow fail. Now I'm building it up. These are very blendable. Now that I know I can blend them out, I'm gonna darken the outer corner and make it more of a smoky look. This is BK Beauty 207. I don't want to jinx it, but so far so good. This might be a bad idea, but I'm gonna use this shade to blend out the crease and above crease. Let's see what happens. We are trying out makeup. This is first impression, so you're gonna be fine. I'm using BK Beauty 206. You don't have to switch your brushes so much, but since I have the brushes, I wanna see what works the best with this eyeshadow for future use. It actually toned down the warmness of the brown, the light brown shade. I'm not mad. It actually looks better. Since I want to use every shade in this palette, I'm going to continue. I'm going to use this shade as Taupe and this one as an inner corner. But this eye look is actually something that I'm comfortable with. I like it, and for an everyday eye look, I would put on mascara and be done with it. A lot less golden than what it shows in the pan and in the swatches, but very glittery. Let's use BK Beauty 210 to apply the middle shade as an inner corner. Wish me luck. I'm not a fan of these kinds of shades, but let's see what happens. It was a good choice to put it in this eyeshadow palette because I feel like it tones down the warmness of the other shades. It actually looks better than, it's less icier than what it looks in the pan. I'm gonna deepen the outer corner a little bit more because that's just my style. Let's finish up the under eyes and move on to the other eye. I'm using the darkest shade first. That was 207 from BK Beauty, and now I'm gonna actually use this shade to blend out the darker shade. And this is BK Beauty 203. Let's see how this looks. If it's too light, I'm gonna switch to the more browny shade. It looks a lot less golden on my skin tone, which I like. It has an interesting undertone to it. This is the eye look. Let me apply some mascara and be back. What a difference. I love this Tarte Miniature Mascara. Okay, let's use Silk Taupe now on this eye. I'm gonna try to use mostly different eyeshadow brushes. If I cannot, I'll clean the eyeshadow brushes that I use with the other palette so we don't get the mixture. So don't worry about that. I'm gonna first use this shade as an all over shade to see how it looks on my skin tone. I am using BK Beauty 202. These eyeshadow palettes keep surprising me. The shade actually does not look bad on my skin tone. I thought it is a bit too gray. Just if it was a better packaging. This is a pretty shade. Let me apply this one using my fingers to see how it applies, what is the impact and everything, and we'll use a brush if we need it. It is a lot more subtle than I expected, but I'm not mad about it. Let me use a brush. I think this is gonna look better with a brush. Let me clean up BK Beauty 209. I'm using a Cinema Secret brush cleanser. Nothing compares to this cleanser. It cleans your brushes and then it's dry in like 10 seconds. It is completely clean and dry. This is a very soft, very subtle shade. It's actually great for an everyday look. I've noticed they look taupier on the eyes than in the eyeshadow. That's probably why they named this one taupe and the other one brown. And they didn't put the warm in the name because they look more taupey on the eyes actually. This is that pink shade all over. I'm gonna deepen the outer corner and do the same with the middle shade as I did with this eye. This brown looks like it is lighter than the other brown in the other eyeshadow palette. Let me blend out the edges using this shade. I have to say the other brown, dark brown, was actually more blendable than this one, but this is not a bad quality. Just comparing, you will notice it. Even with the swatches, I felt that this brown was a bit drier than the other one, which makes sense. The combination of the pigments is different between the two browns in the two eyeshadow palettes, and that might change the consistency of the eyeshadow. By the way, I forgot to mention, you see this makeup patch, this one, and this box in the background? That was actually what these two eyeshadows came in the box, and then they gave me a pouch for like Mother's Day. It came in this box, so if you want to buy something for your mom and you know she will like these, maybe this is actually a good gift because these eyeshadows are impressing me so far. I'll probably put that one back in the box and give it to my mom whenever I see her. I'm gonna deepen the outer corner a little bit more with BK Beauty 204. These eyeshadows build up very well on top of each other. Completely opposite of what I experienced with Victoria Beckham Beauty. You know what would be great? The packaging from Victoria Beckham Beauty and the eyeshadows from these. But I guess they cannot do both because of their margins and how much they wanna profit from the sales. I must say the colors they chose work great together. Blend the outer corner a bit more. I like this one a lot better than this one. I mean, this is a good color combination, and for the longest time, this is what I liked in eyeshadow palettes. But as I'm aging, I feel like this is the color story that I'm liking more on my skin tone. I have a warmer, more olive skin tone, and I like my concealer and my foundation to be in that realm. But for my bronzer, blush, and eyeshadow, I actually like the opposite. I feel like they match better. Since in this eyeshadow palette, this is lighter than the middle shade, I'm actually gonna use this shade all over my eyelid first, and then I'm gonna use this one as an inner corner highlight. This has a lot more glitter in it, which is why I'm using a brush. I want to see how it applies. As I said, this has a lot more glitter in it, but it actually doesn't look bad. I think Dior has redeemed themselves with these eyeshadow palettes. Soft Cashmere was my favorite eyeshadow palette from the previous line, the regular line, and I feel like that one was the most ruined eyeshadow palette after the reformulation, and I was super sad. I tried to find it on fragrance.net and everywhere else to see if I can find the older formula, but unfortunately it was too late. It was already gone everywhere. As I said in the swatches, this eyeshadow palette is actually a lot more sheer than this one. The colors apply more sheer, they have less of a base pigment to them. One is not better than the other, it's just the application. The application is different. Sometimes I want a sheer wash of color, sometimes I don't. I want it to have more impact. I'm gonna use the same brush and apply the lighter shade in the inner corner. Let me use the same brush as I used for the other eye. I feel like this is a lot sheer than the other eyeshadow, but I want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. Yes, I feel like these have more glitter in them, but they have less of a base pigment to them. You see the difference? This eye is brighter. It has a more metallic-y finish to it. But this eye, you can see some glitter, but at the same time, you don't see much of a change in the shades because they have less of a base pigment. I'm gonna finish up the under eyes. I'm gonna apply the darker shade in the outer corner and apply this shade to blend everything out. Then I'm gonna apply my mascara and be back. Under eyes applied, mascara applied, I'm back. This side is the brown Cashmere, this side is the Silk Taupe eyeshadow palette. I applied some powder under my eyes. I used my ambient lighting from Hourglass in the shade Diffuse Light to powder my under eyes and the center of my face, mostly because this is a very high shine, glittery, metallic-y eye look, and I don't want my face to be bright everywhere. My final thoughts are that I love this eyeshadow palettes. I'm sorry, I know they are expensive, but I am very picky about buying luxury beauty. As you saw with the Victoria Beckham beauty ones, everyone was saying good things about them. I didn't like them. I gave you my honest thoughts. I'm not saying that everybody else didn't like them and said they liked them. For me and my dry under eyes, they didn't work out. I love the packaging, but the quality was not there for me to pay that amount of money. But these ones, even though I hate the packaging, they look good in pictures, and I'm sure they cared about the pictures when they were doing the marketing images and videos because they look good. When you go to buy them, you like them, but when you receive them, you're like, excuse me, is this luxury? Very underwhelming, and you heard the sound when you open it and close it. I mean, I was trying to be rough with it and it didn't break, but at the same time, it wasn't the best experience. I was shocked to see these packagings. But enough about the packaging. If you want to know about the quality is there. I feel like this is different than their regular line. The regular line is very inconsistent after the reformulation. I really like the soft Cashmere palette. They ruined it. I do feel like the Silk Taupe is closer to that one, but the colors in that eyeshadow palette were more like a satiny colors, but these are more like a glittery. And I have to tell you, I have some glitter fallout all over my face, but it is not very noticeable. And it is only on this side of my face where the eyeshadows were more sheer, but they were more glittery. But I am not mad at it. It doesn't show up in the camera. And in real life, I have to be very close to my skin to see the glitters. All in all, I am super happy with these two eyeshadow palettes. If it wasn't for my channel, I would only pick up Silk Taupe based on what I saw online. and I wouldn't be surprised by the quality and by the colors. It has met my expectations. If it wasn't for my channel, I wouldn't even pick up the brown cashmere, but I knew this is gonna be one of the more popular shades. To be honest, I'm not mad that I did, because this looks a lot less warm compared to what I expected. And I can get use out of this eyeshadow palette. Maybe not the middle shade, which was this one. This is a bit too icy for my liking, but the other shades actually surprised me. They weren't too warm compared to the swatches. Taupe one I really liked. I really liked every shade in this eyeshadow palette. I was skeptical about this one, because if I'm paying a lot of money for an eyeshadow palette that has 5 eyeshadows in it, I want to be able to use every shade. But this one has actually surprised me too. I love every shade in this eyeshadow palette. Even though I'm not a glitter person, this looks great. This is not too glittery, and because it doesn't have a lot of base pigment and a lot of glitter in it, it actually looks a lot more natural. This is something that I would do for a date night, for any events that I'm going to. This is an eye look that I would actually do, and I would be happy with it. But again, as I said with the Victoria Beckham Beauty ones, it depends on you. It was the opposite for those, but for these, I'm gonna say it depends on you. Do you want to pay luxury pricing for a mediocre packaging and a great eyeshadow quality? For me, I would prefer this compared to the Victoria Beckham ones. I like luxury beauty, I like beautiful packaging and everything, but what I care the most is how the eyeshadow or how the product applies. That is the first thing that I want from my luxury beauty makeup. I also want to have a great packaging, because I am basically paying for the packaging, but I can get over that if it is a good quality. And compared to what I see in the market at the moment, I feel like these are the best options for a smaller eyeshadow palette. Obviously, Natasha Denona is a great brand. You can pick up any of her eyeshadow palettes for less than this amount of money. She has bigger palettes with more shades. But for a smaller eyeshadow palette that is luxury, I feel like this is the best in the market at the moment. I like the YSL ones, and I have swatched them a lot of times, and I have thought about picking up the shade 100 Storodolls or something like that. But the truth is that that one is a bit too creamy, and I'm worried it's gonna look too metallic on my eyes. Something similar to the 2 shades that I used in the inner corner for this eye. That is why I wanted to pick up the Dior ones, and I never picked up the YSL ones. Even though the packaging is great, I might pick them up in future to have it for comparisons for future videos, but at the moment I am very content with these eyeshadows. If anything happens out of the ordinary with these eyeshadow palettes, if they irritate my skin or something like that, I will update the description box. But other than that, you know my opinion about these eyeshadow palettes. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you enjoy your shopping if you decide to pick up any of these palettes. If you have them, please let us know in the description box. How do you like them? If you have different shades, are they consistent? Do they also look good? And what is the difference between the shades and between the eyeshadow palettes? Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That will help my channel a lot. I would appreciate your support very much. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.